Good evening, everybody. We are back on another Friday, which means Convergence. I'm extremely excited for tonight, if only because there's been a whole bunch of narrative buildup, which is going to be great, and then an impending dragon fight, which I will keep toting and talking about because I have never run one before and I would like to. And with some great notes from our own Ben, definitely have been able to refine it. By the way, Ben, thank you for the notes.
Oh, I hope they were at least a little help.
They help me solidify and sort of condense a better image. You were right. Like some of the things I already knew, but there are other things that just from another person's perspective helped me think differently. So it definitely made some things better. It was good. It was good.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah. Well, I guess since that's that, someone tell me what happened last week.
Well, we almost died. Uh,
Did you?
when we started after the end of the battle, we gave the handmaiden now has was it a lute or a mandolin? It was a mandolin.
It was a mandolin.
And the next traversing was through a wild magic field, right? Maybe I just can't remember anything. I very intensely remember Hasvard being antagonized by the Shadeseeker and Martel conspiring with said Shadespeaker to kill Lhasa. And that's primarily what I remember. I shouldn't have started speaking.
I mean, those are like, if we had to condense it down, those are the really important bullet points. Anyone
Yeah.
want to fill in anything in between?
The only things that like you missed was the fact that you were a flower. Tajira was a doll.
Yep.
And then everything else you covered. Like you said, you thought we went through a magic zone, which we did, and yeah.
Like I said, I've been stressing over the whole killing Lhasa thing, so I forgot everything else.
Yeah. Other than learning that the handmaiden has that like place, which we already knew the week before, just no one else had gone in yet. Yeah, there's not much.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's worth remembering what antagonized Hasvard.
Yeah, tell us about it, Ben.
The Shadeseeker offered to tell Hasvard where his daughter was in exchange for knowing what was inside the tent. Shadeseeker was all like, "What's in the box? What's in the box?" And Hasvard would not tell him. It's his wife's head. But yeah, no, he offered that in exchange. Hasvard refused, I think somewhat wisely, because he was like, it's never that easy. And it probably wouldn't have been. And so after refusing, the Shadeseeker then made a not very thinly veiled threat at Hasvard's daughter, saying that it would be a shame for her to be told that the reason her dad never came to save her was because he didn't want to share what was in a tent, which sparked a big combat, or what could have been a big combat. Hasvard attempted to assassinate the Shadeseeker. The Shadeseeker was not at all surprised that after doing this to Hasvard, Hasvard tried to strike back, and reached into Hasvard and tried to do something to him. Thankfully, Hasvard saved, and only took a bunch of damage. Like a whole bunch of damage.
Yeah,
Over
for saving.
40.
For saving.
For saving.
saving.
Over 40.
Really important to note. That was for saving.
Yeah. And then, Martel tied up Hasvard and attempted to de-escalate the situation.
And then is when Luthien and Tajira came back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the high and lows.
Yeah, I think that's pretty well covered. I don't think there's anything else missed, unless someone wants to jump in and tell me otherwise. For those of you that participated in the recap, if you don't have 2 points, you may now have 2 points.
Yay! I'm bad at doing meta homework, so I try and remember what happened the week before so I can get some inspiration that way.
And that's okay. Given we had so much contribution from multiple people, I dropped the points from 3 to 2 this week, but otherwise, yeah, it's a perfectly viable strategy. Well, with that in mind, we set ourselves back in the Arctic tundra of the wastes of Eridu, heading ever northward towards the city of Blazing Amber, following with 2 groups, the Hammer of Amaron, a group of magical craftsman Goliaths searching for a long-lost forge, and a group led by a shadow creature called the Shadeseeker, with his acolytes and this strange, unnerving girl that seems to only act when spoken to. The weather has not gotten any better. It is consistently below freezing. And even though this does not directly affect many of you, it still does not remove the discomfort from having to make sure things do not freeze solid. The winds at this particular point in time have picked up, and a heavy snowfall has begun, reducing visibility to about 15 feet. Which, honestly, is actually quite far for the level of snow. After exiting the wild magic field and the altercation with the Shadeseeker is finished, the short rest is taken. People have a chance to catch a breath and kind of fix themselves up, all with the exception of those that were caught in the middle of the fracas that was started. But after it's all said and done, the party, now a little bit on edge, heads onward, pushing further and further towards the raised mountains in the distance. The place where the inevitable conflict with whatever awaits for the party will happen. Whether it be the dragon that was foretold by Lass's prophesying, or the mysterious group of shadowy mercenaries that await for them, according to Tajira. The travel continues on for hours. There's mostly a tense silence, answered only occasionally by an off comment here or there, or the nod and respectful pass of a flask. But ranks have closed in predominantly amongst the groups. The Hammer is sticking very close to one another, the only outlier kind of being Gamir, who's still occasionally sharing a drink with Lithian. The Shadeseeker and his acolytes are staying well to the front, acting as as the point and lead, and making sure they keep on a steady clip, moving towards the destination. The group, after this bit of tension, how are you guys moving? Have you guys changed your opinions about how to travel, or are you guys going to stay split up? Or together, I guess.
Tajira sees no way or no reason not to stay with the group.
Martel's kind of meandering. Sometimes she'll be with the group, sometimes she'll be a little further away. It's all to, nonchalantly create opportunities to split off to go, meet with the Shadeseeker or possibly with Lassa, whatever she might need in the next little bit.
Right.
She's, purposely kind of moving around, and not strictly staying with any one group.
Okay. Doing a little floating, that's fine. Well, what about you, Hazard? You probably have the most tenuous position to sort of choose, given obvious friction now with the forwardmost group.
Well, I think I'm going to hang out with Lithian and Gamir.
That's fair.
I was going to say
Having-
Lithium will be keeping an eye on Hasvard. So
Yeah, that's valid. And I'm gonna say that like me and Lithian being here would mean Tajira's with us as well. I would think I think we're probably just grouped with the hammer, with Martel kind of floating in and out of our grouping. From what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm. I'm just kind of getting a rough idea as to what everything sort of looks like. Given the lengthy travels that this is going to be, are there any casual conversations anyone would like to have with any of the aforementioned NPCs?
Certainly not casual conversations.
Any conversations of any note that would like to be had?
When Martel feels she can get to a spot where she can like comfortably split off and have people not see, she's going to take a chance on the Shade Seeker and use her Oathsworn tapping Thieves' Cant to kind of say, can we talk?
Okay. Just make me a stealth check. Heck, at advantage. Visibility is pretty bad. So it'd be kind of easy for you to sort of slip out of sight for like 10 to 15 feet and then kind of cruise back in after you've made your signal.
25.
Okay, that's very good. It's simple enough to do, Martel. Like I said, the way the snow is currently falling, it's super easy to kind of cruise just out of sight briefly for a period of time, cover some distance because you are very nimble and capable of moving very fast distances, even when trying to keep yourself stealthy. Can send out a signal to which you feel the unusual connection form into your mind. As somewhere in front of you, where you can see the dark blotch that is a Shade Seeker and his acolytes walking along, you just kind of hear his voice pop into your head.
And what can I do for you?
Martel says, well, we're coming up on the time where I'm probably going to try and split Lhasa off. I needed to work out a signal to you of when to help me open some kind of rift for his illusion to fall into. As we will have limited time to create this deception.
Yes. Well, you seem like a colorful one. Perhaps you can change something about your appearance that would not be unusual to anyone else, but is something I would recognize as something to act on.
Yeah. Says, oh, yes, that would be just fine. I will add a... She kind of looks at her outfit, thinks about the ribbons in her hair. I'll add a light blue ribbon to my hair.
Light blue. I will remember that then. and I will be watching. You can be certain of that.
Good. And I will begin getting prepared.
Wonderful. Best of luck.
Yeah, Martel doesn't respond to that. We both know.
All right. For the record, because the visibility has been cut so drastically, you're not entirely certain how close you are getting to the mountains because you can no longer see them off in the distance. The storm swept in very suddenly, whereas it was clear enough before to have seen them a good distance away. And then the storm just kind of came in very abruptly and just clogged up all of the vision. But you've been traveling long enough. You know you're probably at least 75% of the way there. Maybe another hour or two of traveling before the terrain starts changing to account for the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Snow, have you been past these points before?
Only once or twice. I typically do not encourage many people to go much farther. This is usually the point of no return where I advise them the direction of the city, and then I make my way back. Very few people actually return from Varkelzar.
Good to know we're almost there.
Yes. If we keep traveling at this pace and don't make any stops, we could be there by the end of the day.
Knowing this group, that's highly unlikely. But good luck.
You said very few. Have there been survivors?
One or two. Usually coming back from a larger expedition that has had several casualties. But yes, there are survivors and people that have found their fortunes by bringing back an artifact or two.
Does this mean you're leaving us now?
Snow turns and looks at you, and you just kind of see like their tongue running over the sharp teeth underneath their lips. And there's a long moment where you can tell there's contemplation in the brain as Snow is kind of carefully considering that question. I'd be lying to you if I said I thought I was safe within the current circumstances. And I would likewise be lying to you if I said I was looking forward to running to a place where there might be a dragon or people that could kill a dragon. And so in that regard, my services are coming to a close rapidly. When that will be today, I'm not entirely certain, but odds are neither will you if it goes, poorly, quickly enough.
Well, thank you for getting us this far, at least.
Thank you for paying me lots of gold.
Make sure to say hi on our way back.
That would be nice. I'll buy you a drink. Hell, I'll buy you 10.
We'll hold you to that.
Each?
Yes, each. It's not like you paid me pennies to take you out here.
Don't worry, we won't be ridiculous like we were with the pirates.
What pirates?
Man. Is Martel around for any of this?
You're off doing your thing.
All right.
You could come back in right at the tail end comment of something about pirates.
Stories for another day.
Very well.
Maybe over drinks.
Ideally.
Is there anything that we should know on the rest of our way there?
Well, the only thing that I know, but you also know, is that there's another field of wild magic between there and the city. The city itself is dangerous. It's swarming with ancient constructs and primordials. There are traps and old defensive mechanisms that exist. And there was a rumor of a cult that was built up in the city in the last year or so.
In the city?
Yes. Inside the city. But odds are of them surviving is very slim, so they're probably dead by now. So, you know, just kind of keep it in the back of your mind.
They hate rumors.
But there's more than one way into the city. You don't have to go through the front gates. They don't have traditional sewers, if only because primordials had no need for them. But there are exhausts and things of that nature that you can find and climb your way in through. If you have anybody that is capable of flying, to get a rope to a higher position, scaling the outsides to a point somewhere further inside, it might be your best and safest route, if I would offer any suggestions. Because going through the front door is where a lot of creatures tend to come and go since they are open. And given that they're all crazy, they like to wander.
Wise advice.
You are leaving us now.
Well, my contract only takes me a little bit further than this. And while I'm very interested to see where this whole dog and pony show is going to go, if it means me dying, it's not worth it.
How long will you be in the city where we met you? We were told that you tend to move around, like many of the guides.
From city to city. But I hang around for a little bit to see if more work crops up. I might be there for another few weeks. If I'm honest with you.
Oh, then hopefully in a few weeks we might have another job for you. Fingers crossed that it's not quite so hectic.
If it's anywhere out here, it's going to be hectic. But
The smiles and nods.
nothing as unpredictable as running into a group of Goliaths and crazy shuttle worshipping nut jobs, huh?
No, I don't think any of us were expecting that.
Yeah, I would have charged extra. All right.
Yeah, no, Martel's gonna give him, let's see, 3 platinum pieces. Let's see, a retainer. I like to make sure we work with the best. And if we arrive back in the city, I'd like a bit of a down payment for our next expedition.
They'll kind of roll the coins between their claws, and then palm them into a pocket. Oh, I'll keep that in mind. I'll make sure not to overbook, and try to keep myself available.
Thank you. Take care of yourself.
Oh, of course.
I was
always do.
just about to do that. You stole my thunder.
I will also take your money.
I will gladly give you money when we return.
Ah, you're no fun. But if you come back, and you have something that is of a high value, I'll happily take 1%.
I'll consider it.
Good. Anything else besides trudging onward?
Onward!
Any further machinations?
Mm.
I don't know that they're plotting, so I can't warn people. So we're just keep going.
That's mostly why you don't know.
I mean, can you imagine why Martel might not trust you with her plans?
What do you mean you tried to stab our ally?
Yeah. I'm just trying to be good.
And that's good. Speaking of good things, as I said, anything else before we kind of continue along and jump forward another hour or two?
No, we can jump.
Time skip.
Time skip. All right. Time will continue to move onward. The weather does give way a little bit, increasing your visibility to about 25 feet. The terrain, which was mostly flat with an occasional rise or dip, becomes a bit more unpredictable as segments of this jet black, razor sharp obsidian is just jutting out of the snow. And the terrain becomes much more difficult to traverse. But between elements of this ebbing snowstorm, you're beginning to get the occasional ray of sun that's peeking through. It is currently noon, for all of you that would like to know.
Black obsidian, huh? How far away did you say it was?
How far away is what?
The obsidian from us.
You're passing by it.
Oh.
It's just like
Does it like
occasional. You'll just see like huge shards of it just jutting out of the snow.
it's just straight obsidian, no markings.
Yeah, nothing. Just
Cool.
pure glossy, flat planed, razor sharp obsidian, and it again huge. There are small shards that kind of crop up in groups that are kind of more or less like if you wanted to walk over a bed of knives, here you go. And in other places, there are just these huge, like just 10-foot long, 15-foot high, jagged, just towering obelisks of obsidian.
Cool. Is there a pattern to it? Probably not.
You know what? Your passive investigations are very high. I'll give you one. I'll give you a freebie.
Sure.
You notice this after kind of walking through enough of this field, as you begin slowly start kind of trudging at a slight upward angle. All of the obsidian, the points of the obsidian, are all pointing southward.
Interesting. And are we walking south?
You're walking north.
Cool. I kind of want to go to where they're pointing, but I also don't at the same time.
Well, in your defense, you just came from where they were pointing.
That's valid. I will voice. I wonder why they all point in one direction.
I don't know. What does Martel know about obsidian?
Make a nature check.
A nat 20 for a total of 24.
You know everything about obsidian.
Yeah, Martel just kind of takes a moment to dip into those stores of what she once considered useless memory. And it's like, obsidian. And starts reciting obsidian facts.
Yeah, quick, go to the Wikipedia oracle.
No, that's okay. Martel goes, it tends to be formed when lava or hot magma cools rapidly, creating shards like this. I suppose it could be possible that if a dragon were to breathe fire, it might have similar effects. She looks at Hasvard and shrugs. Either we are having strange lava upflows, or the dragon breathed a lot of fire that froze, rapidly cooled, on its way to the north.
I wonder what it breathed on then. I guess we'll find out when we get to the center of, obviously, this area.
The handmaiden will kind of cut in with a cord. and then just kind of add, Iridu was a battlefield of great significance during the creation wars. Many cataclysmic battles were fought here over the course of thousands of years. This could just be the remnants of one of such battlefields.
Does anyone else think that it's a terrible idea that people that like to erase information are getting to the center of something like this first?
They're hardly the first ones here.
Well, you don't know that, but yes, it's also very likely that someone else.
Yes, I do. Snow said that they have been here before.
Wait, through this obsidian?
Presumably taking groups.
Snow, you're still with us. You've gone through this
Yes.
obsidian area before?
Never this deep, no. I typically hightail it around about now. But there have people that have claimed to have come back from the city with artifacts that match descriptions of the architecture and the make. So, if it's to be believed, yes.
All right. Well, Martel, then you're right. When you're right, you're right. Guess we might not find anything in the center, but information on the fact that it's going to breathe something really hot that can make obsidian. So excited.
Merely a possibility. Entirely possible the dragon could breathe anything else. It was just a hypothesis.
No, and a good one. I'm just, riffing. There's no looking at our magic casters. There's no magics that like create obsidian like this, right?
So, Jared, do you have anything to say about that?
Did I miss something?
Yeah, is there any magics that could make obsidian like this in this kind of formation?
Oh, sorry.
Say if it's like supered or something.
I do not know much about arcane magic.
She can make a roll on investigation, or
An Arcana check.
let's see what she knows. Oh, that's actually not bad. Sorry, I'm just on the wrong page. That is a 15 flat.
That's not bad. Well, given everything Martel just explained about how obsidian is formed, it's not impossible for there to have been a lava flow, and then the application of cold magic to rapidly cool it to create obsidian would be possible. You don't know of any magics in large enough scale to do kind of what you guys are walking through. Given that the area, you can just kind of see, even with the reduced visibility, occasionally between the gusts of snow off in the distance, just these other huge jagged spikes of obsidian that seems to go on for quite some time in either direction. This sort of impact in just sheer size would be very difficult to achieve with what modern magical practitioners are capable of, even some of the more powerful ones. This would have to be something equivalent to a god's magic if it was done magically.
Okay. Oh, she'll explain that.
Oh, very interesting. Well, Martel, it still sounds like your theory is the most likely. Onward we trundle.
I assume the obsidian was not the mountains that I saw.
It's the base of them.
Base of them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, hold on a second.
Holding.
Sorry, I've been eating a spicy soup. And I needed to go get a drink.
Oh.
It's a spicy meatball.
I thought it was gonna excuse me, I was just
Bite-sized,
taking a
about to
spoonful of
start
spicy soup.
talking. No. I'm such a wimp to spice. Anyways. Martel, say, go to well, she'll just talk to the group. Say, okay, well, when we get in the mountains, I plan to have a meeting with Lhasa. Tajira and Hasvard, I'd like it if you remained here. And Lithian, if you could follow after me. And after waiting about... Martel just kind of thinks for a second. Give it about 7 minutes before following.
Very well.
You'll get a very intense look from Lithian. Okay.
Wonderful.
I'm gonna start taking a short rest then as soon as we get there.
Well, I mean, it's not like people are stopping walking. Martel's just splitting off.
Oh, to grab Lhasa. I was thinking that like we were all gonna stop outside eventually.
Martel just wanted to go have a side meeting. Everyone else is going to keep moving.
Cool. All right.
You know, it's not like it's a planned 40-minute Zoom meeting, you know? When you're on this sort of timetable, 5 minutes tops, in which case it's easy to catch up from that sort of delay.
I need to step out for maybe about 15 minutes. My brother just texted me, and apparently he's locked himself out of his house.
Oh, that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go and use my key. So I'll be back in 15. Sorry about that. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. I guess we should clarify. Hey, Ben, is Tajira absolutely important to any of the machinations currently at play?
No, I think Tajira's okay to step away for a bit.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were going to keep you. You should get going.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. And then there were 3.
I'm scared.
Don't be yet.
Oh.
Do be scared later, but not right now. Everything's normal right now. Until I ask, all right, Martel, you're going to go fetch Lhasa?
Yeah, once we hit kind of the mountains, she's gonna go fetch Lhasa.
Yeah. It doesn't take long. It's after about 25 minutes in the obsidian field that you kind of watch as this rise you were climbing up just kind of escalates very suddenly up into a huge just mountain of jet black stone, snow-capped. It's very pretty, actually. But there is an obvious path that you can tell something or someone has carved through to continue onward. As everyone's kind of quickly deciding the way they're going to handle this next situation, small preparations. Martel, as you're approaching, you watch as Lhasa takes his large staffed maul and hands it to Fodder. There's a brief exchange between the two of them, and then Lhasa turns almost in time with your arrival.
All right.
Martel, are you prepared for this meeting?
Yes. I can't imagine it takes much preparation, but yes. Shall we?
Very well. A place with some privacy, yes?
Yes.
You have a place in mind?
Well, there appears to be a path heading this way. Perhaps we'll take the scenic route.
Very well.
I hope you understand. And she just points at the handmaiden. She follows me everywhere.
I do not mind if you don't.
I don't know. She might be useful.
Very well. Then let us walk.
All right.
And you begin heading into the very beginnings of the trailhead, cutting through the more scenic route.
Martel will just speak with him fairly casually. How the journey is going, how the morale is with his people. Sorry. Casual talk until they're deeper in.
How long are you going to go for?
Should probably walk with him kind of casually for about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Or addressing him saying, "Oh, Lhasa, first I need to ask, is there anything you can do that can prevent unwanted listeners?"
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me check real fast. Loss is a man of many capabilities. Unless we have an abundance of time, I cannot prevent anyone with divination abilities from listening to us. But I can make it so I can be aware if someone is at least listening.
Martel nods and says, "I believe," she looks at the handmaid and she says, "you have a way of preventing divination, yes?"
She nods.
Well then.
She will begin humming a tune. And just as before, a ball of golden energy will form between her fingers as she plucks on the strings of the mandolin. And then with one final strum, it'll sort of vibrate and then sort of break apart. And two little motes will float between the two of you, striking you both with a golden glow. And then the handmaid just looks to you, Martel, and just nods, affirming that she has done what you have asked.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I'm not very great at noticing non-magical listeners. Have
Very
you
well.
anything for that, Lhasa?
Yes. And he reaches up to the holy symbol placed into the chest plate of his armor. It glows briefly, and then the eyes underneath the slit of his plate-mail helm, his eyes begin to glow with this fiery red aura. And he just kind of briefly looks around, and then looks back at you, same the aura remaining, and just kind of gives a nod of affirmation. There is no one listening. We are as secure as can be.
I trust the Shade Seeker significantly less far than I could throw him.
That is wise of you.
That said, I needed information. I needed to know some things. I needed to know what he was after. And I needed to know if he had a certain bit of information that I needed. He told me, as I offered him a deal, that he is after your hammer. I take it your hammer has some special significance. I noticed you left it behind for the talk.
It does. It is the very same hammer used by Voltaire to forge the first weapons that he ever made. It is extraordinarily powerful.
Well, I had hoped to be able to protect it. But that will be more tricky since you have left it behind. Truth is, Lhasa, I fear that dragon. I fear what that dragon will do to all of us. Tajira had the plan to tell a lie in order to try and get everybody to work together. I do not know what she told you guys. I told the Shadeseeker that there were dragon cultists worshipping the dragon that you foresaw.
The Tabaxi's lie was less specific. A group of humanoids, dangerous and deadly, slew the dragon and awaited someone at the destination. Unfortunately for your companion, I did not completely believe them, despite the magical influence they had.
Just shrugs. She is not as practiced a liar as I am. Last thing I wanted was the Shadeseeker and his people hanging back while you and your noble friends fought the dragon alongside us, depleted our powers, both of us, and then struck while we were weak. So I made a bargain to force them into the combat. At the very least, it will require them to fight and be on similar footing if they wish to betray us right after the dragon. Lhasa, I need you to die. And then she holds up her hands. Temporarily. It should fulfill the contract. I will send you someplace safe. And I will give you the means to come back. And she pulls out a level 4 potion and hands it to Lhasa. And you will have this to heal yourself. I told you that if I was going to stab you, it would be in your front. I hope you understand I did not make this deal to try and get rid of you. I made this deal to gain information and to try and save us and put us all in the best possible position.
And have you considered what will happen when you don't return with me?
Yes, I have thought long about that. I can create an illusion that will look and act. Well, it will look like you. It will act how I command it to. Your people may see through it. I was hoping you had some kind of phrase or key that will help them play along and understand that this is a deception. She just kind of shrugs. I realized very early on that deception is not the strength of your party. I apologize, but I took that role upon myself on your behalf.
I have noticed. This plan is not a simple one, and clearly has been working for some time since you've met us.
Well, the truth is, you saved lives. Lives of people I care about. And I think you will do many more great things. I never wanted to betray you guys. But I think understandably, do not trust your people's ability to act. I needed the Shadeseeker to be convinced, and for that, I needed to deceive all of you as well.
And where...
I was never your enemy.
Where will I be sent?
Oh, well, I had some thoughts. You have a bit of a choice in that matter. First... And she looks at the handmaiden. She's like, not entirely clear on how your space worked where we slept the other night. Would I be able to put Lhasa there? Or does it not exist while you don't have a door?
You can, in fact, send him there. I will not explain the means in which the realm has been created, but it is a existing space, regardless of whether or not there's a gateway to it.
Very well. Well, we have a space that the Handmaiden has that you may go to, if that is your desire. I can also send you to the Feywild. It's probably not as safe, but it will be hard for anything to detect you. It is the nature of what I do. Or I have been to a couple of other realms. I would not recommend the elemental plane of fire. That would be unpleasant. But I could send you also to a realm that Tyrek often takes me to. It is wherever you would feel safest.
And it is finally here that I want your persuasion check.
Sure. We're gonna use some inspiration on that for a much better outcome. I mean, this is gonna be a hard sell, but at 28.
Oh, you guys. Oh, I roll below a 30. It's so low.
Well, I'm trying to convince a man to die.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
At what point do I come across this?
Well, you were 7 minutes behind.
Yeah.
So you are currently in transit.
Okay.
With Tajira? Question mark?
No.
No,
it's just
Tajira.
Lithian.
Martel asked Tajira to stay behind, at least in part to make sure Hasvard doesn't follow.
Right. Okay.
Because if everything does go belly up, Martel still has to make this work.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
And Hasvard would be a problem with that.
Yeah. Just clarifying.
Yeah, I didn't get to specify that more to Tim.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Before he left, so. Because, based on people's responses, Lithian was like, I trust you, and we'll do what we need to do. Martel was like, okay, she's the one I'm going to need. If he refuses, and this turns into a fight.
Yep.
Then she's like, and then, Tajiro was like, yeah, I trust you, but, whatever. And she was like, okay. And then Hasvard is like, I'm not hurting anyone. And she was like, you stay behind. Tajiro watches you. Lithian comes to help if I need her.
Like, I didn't say I didn't trust you. I'm just not hurting people.
Yeah, well, this might require hurting somebody.
Especially people
In
that
fact, it depends heavily on hurting somebody.
Yep.
Anyways,
after several dice rolls, Lhasa stands there with his imposing figure, clad in his red and rune-covered plate mail, unarmed. And he takes a moment in the consideration of offering shelter to him in this plan. It's ultimately of no consequence to me where I end up. The wilds are a difficult place to return from. Sometimes they don't wish to let you go. The elemental plane of fire I've been to numerous occasions. But a locally available and private realm is preferred. It guarantees my safety the most. I will agree to this plan, but I will air my voice of protest in the exceptional amount of guile you've applied to the situation, Martel. These thin veils that people operate with. The planning and manipulation behind the backs of comrades and allies. Perhaps it is just an old-fashioned style of thinking, but I believe it to be responsible for much of the corruption we see today. But I won't deny that I see the need for it in this moment when dealing with a creature whose entire being is made of the same substance. And in that field, we could not match him. It is fortuitous that we stumbled upon someone such as yourself out here in the wastes. And if you wish to inform the remaining members of the Hammer that something is unusual, but they need to play along, have the illusory form of me swear. They'll immediately notice something is unusual, but won't question it. And if anything goes awry and something is revealed, Gamir is the one you need to watch. He may have a soft heart and a big stomach, but he is the most dangerous among us. It is his passion that fuels him, and he will destroy anything in his path if he feels he has been, or any one of us has been, betrayed or harmed in any way.
And I hope the next part goes well. We have arranged for that illusion to drop down a chasm before it drops. You know, keep things just easy. I can't hold the illusion forever. I will watch him, but I hope he takes it as intended.
Continue to play your part as well as you have, and perhaps everything will go well. Otherwise, you might be participating in an unusual and ultimately fruitless rescue attempt.
Yes, well. I appreciate your trust. And I hear your words and will contemplate them. The truth is, you and your people are good people. They're exactly the kind of people I want forging a brighter future for all of us. There will come a time when people like me are obsolete. It will not matter. Very much look forward to that time. Again, I'm sure Lhasa is another one of the people around Martel who's not comfortable with it. She'll give him a hug.
It catches him off guard. It's very abrupt, and I think that like you could see it on him. It's like you could feel the tension, like still partially waiting for the knife. Like, wait, did it just change? But then there's a moment where the wisdom of him catches up, and he does, contrary to the size difference, just kind of with one arm, kind of, you know, participates in the embrace.
Yeah, and Martel will step back, and she'll pull out her coin and put it in his hand and say, "Miscan," thus activating it.
Mm-hmm.
Say, this is just one last insurance. The coin always comes back to me. So long as you keep it tight in your hand, you will as well. I spoke a word. It allowed Tyrek to act more directly upon you. I've realized that, given the reluctant dealing with the Shade Seeker. You may desire people to protect you while you're at the forge. People beyond your own group. Tyrek may come and offer you a deal. It is entirely up to you if you decide to accept or not. I just want to do everything I can for you and your people. And what little I do know how to do. Perhaps Tyrek can offer something that I cannot.
That is a concern for a future that is not yet certain. Allow us to see this plan through, and then we can consider what may happen.
And, Martel will kick out a shoe knife, because she doesn't actually carry daggers.
Mm-hmm.
Say, I apologize. I will kill you as quickly and painlessly as I know how. One blade, right to the heart.
There's a awkward moment where he just kind of like stops and looks down at his heavily armored torso. And
right.
has a moment where he just kind of puts up a finger. 1 second. And he goes to his arm where he draws a finger over one of the runes and it lights up, and then he presses it and the armor kind of snaps off in places and then twists and almost bends inward on itself until the plates don't exist anymore. Like they've been folded into a pocket dimension.
All right. Well,
He is now just in priest's robes.
if you'll allow a narrative death,
Yes.
I'd prefer not to have to
yeah.
roll a million times.
Yeah, I'm not going to
stabbing
have you
him again
roll
and again and again.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have you roll like the necessary like 100 d6 to knock him unconscious. He is
man.
freely and willingly giving you the killing blow.
Okay. Then yeah, Martel will plunge that shoe knife right into his heart.
Mm-hmm.
And he will die temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
And then be
What did I walk
teleported.
into?
The right time.
The perfect time. You don't know what's happening, so
Jeez.
where he will be teleported to to the Handmaiden's pocket dimension, with a level 4 potion, 1 hit point, and under the non-detection spell.
Mm-hmm.
I like to imagine Lithian walked up as Martel was repeatedly stabbing him in the chest.
It's just one. It's just,
Sorry,
it's just
I'm
one.
so weak.
No, that's the rib. Ah, no. No, between the right here, just like.
No, I mean Martel was an assassin. She knows how to kill.
Yeah, exactly. Joking aside.
Yeah. Let me just. Is this the one? No, I can't find it on my character sheet right now. I was gonna put out the thing, but you know the thing. You just gave it to me.
Yes, I did.
That this is. Yeah. So she does that. And yeah, that's the end. It's the end of that.
Mm-hmm. I do think.
Genuinely, at what point?
Hmm?
I was gonna say, like, genuinely, at what point does Lithian show up here?
I was actually just about to say, I feel like it's really great because Lance's and Martel's conversation was a bit long, and they kind of held it when they were in place so they could keep the area secure, if you will. So I really like to imagine Lithian is kind of arriving right as Martel is watching Lhasa slump to the ground, just gushing blood out of his side. Granted, Lithian, you can very clearly tell something about the situation is very off. Because Lhasa is completely 100% out of his armor. Like, that immediately stands out.
there's that, and also the fact that, like, I know Martel can do a lot, but it hasn't been very long, and she's not. She's one person versus his very large lawlessness.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's a
Uh-huh.
good word for it. Yes.
It's a fair point.
Was that consensual?
Always ask for consent, everybody.
You're gonna.
Martel just kind of looks at Lithian. It is an odd choice of words, but he understood what was happening. And understood that it is for the best.
But you didn't really kill him, right?
The handmaiden turns and looks at you, Lithian. No, he is most certainly dead. And then no longer dead.
Ah. I understand. Well, do you need me for anything now? I think you've got it taken care of.
Well, yes, I do still need you for something. I did invite you here in case he decided to resist. It was not the way I wanted this to go, and thankfully it did not. But I also need a dance partner for phase 2.
All right.
And the handmaiden has not yet allowed me to teach her.
I can help with that.
Yeah. Then we will head on, and when Martel thinks we're getting close, she'll start doing her dance. This I should find, so that you know what you're up against. Where am I? There we go. Is it this one? No.
Which
This
one is
one?
it?
I know the names. I think it's this one. Yeah, here we go. Vestal Flamenco. Pew. Again, I know it's a wall of text, but essentially a apparition of the person shows up, and it looks like him. It holds up to physical inspection. However, if it takes even 1 point of damage, it disappears. And it kind of acts how I instruct it to. Where's the save?
It's right after the second paragraph. It's an intelligence saving throw.
Okay, then yeah, they need to make an intelligence saving throw to see if they see through it. Those who do still cannot indicate to other or say to others. I can't find the exact wording.
It says they become jinxed.
There you go.
So
They're jinxed.
I'll just read it. So for those who succeed or possess true sight, which is none of you, you immediately disbelieve the illusion but become jinxed. For the duration of the dance, you cannot willingly suggest to any other creature that the apparition is not real. So you basically, whenever you open your mouth to go, that's not real, you're incapable of speaking the words, and you're just kind of stuck inside your own head with that knowledge.
Really cool spell.
Yeah, I mean, it's very limited in its usefulness, but when it is useful, it's incredibly useful. But yeah, so we come walking up with fake Lhasa.
You mean dancing up?
No.
No, we have to dance for a little bit, and then I just have to...
exists.
It just exists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just,
It
there was
definitely
a
wouldn't look
Like
delicious.
full on fierce tangoing up with
there was a good little overhead camera shot of Martel teaching Lithian how to do this dance step for like a couple of minutes in this obsidian cut path. and then them actually performing it, and then it cuts away to all three of them walking out of the pathway to where the group is now just beginning to head into the large, like open cut through this obsidian mountain.
And just, I mean, to make things simple, and because I know a break was requested, at about, Martel likes odd numbers, it makes people less suspicious, but at about 13 minutes, Fake Lhasa will stumble and swear before, as he catches himself, and then keep walking. And then at about 25 minutes is when Martel will weave in a light blue ribbon into her hair.
Okay. Well, before any more of this kicks off, we are going to take our bio break right there. No problem, Kyle. I could literally hear him running, the chair spinning.
Poor Kyle.
Let's come back around 45 past. That seems like a good number. I like the sound of that.
Sure.
I don't know if you are still here. I'm glad that what I thought and schemed in my head is how that went.
Right? It was very uncertain. You just didn't really know how that was going to go.
Yeah, like that is basically exactly what I expected, hoped for, more or less. That's the only way that I can imagine that they all walk out of this and still liking Martel and trusting Martel.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know what Martel can do or what she's planning.
True.
Yes. Well, now that I have more of an insight even to what Martel can do and the kind of resources that she has, yeah, that'd be fun.
Including that magical little ditty you just learned.
It'll be great because Lithian will let Martel get away with a lot more now.
Quick, remember she said that.
I'm making a note.
Bank heist.
No, I swear it's for the good of everyone.
Lithian wouldn't argue about that one.
Anyway, I'm going to run to the bathroom too, so I'll be right back.
Sure. Yeah, well, it's important for people to think Martel's capable of anything. But the truth is, she does want a better world. And killing great people is not the way to build it.
Which is why, through all of this, I was like, if Martel actually does kill him, that's out of character for her. It just is. But you're playing it so well that I just was like, but maybe.
I just hope I get it filled in. What the heck just happened?
I think you might find out when Tajir finds out.
Probably.
You'll have to watch it back on the
Stream.
On the stream, yeah.
Because I can guess.
Because, it was a pretty long thing. And, like, Hare just said, it's still not something your character knows about, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. Out of character. I apologize, but I do often think that if Martel's not sharing her plans, I shouldn't share the plan.
No, makes sense. I wasn't asking for a genuine explanation.
No, I know you weren't. I just was putting that out there. It's not my favorite thing to do as a player. I don't like withholding and or deceiving other players. And so I do genuinely apologize, but it is very much part of Martel, so I try to play it right.
Yeah. with things like this, especially where it comes to a head rather quickly, where we get to see Martel's plans, I'm cool with that. If it's like bigger grand scheme of things, kind of like decisions need to be based on, I don't know, yeah, then it's kind of wishy-washy. But stuff like this, you played it very well. I enjoyed all of that.
Very good. Whew. I mean, it's honestly a load off. Like, it's all out there. Everybody understands. Except
And
him.
he's finally dead.
He's dead.
Until he pops out in the middle of the battle with the Snowbreaker.
The unfortunate thing is he has to wait until. Oh wait, right. It's not the handmaiden spell that put him in there, so she can still open the door for him.
She can open the door.
Ah.
And also, the coin Martel gave him will very much give Tyrek an eye on him, so. And, I mean, even if none of that was possible, I was really happy the door thing worked, because that was best case scenario. All of this went best case scenario, to be honest with you. Lhasa agreed. Didn't have to beat him down in the snow. He does have some kind of hint that will relate to his people, and yeah, the pocket dimension thing worked. So we can bring him out with that spell. But, like, if nothing else, Martel has some backup plans for things she can do to get Lhasa back, if it wasn't best case scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. I mean, the Lithian trusts Martel, and still does. She just doesn't quite yet, and she's just basically kind of getting the scope of the resources of Martel.
Right. Well, yeah, like, I mean, we haven't been in a scenario where Martel's had to be deceptive, where she's had to do this sort of stuff. Not Lithian and Martel, at least.
Yeah.
Like, prior to this, we've been pretty straightforward, and.
But I mean, both know each other's backgrounds.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, no. And unfortunately, although Kyle's been through this with me once before, Hasvard has not.
Yeah, that is like the one thing. However, like I'm not going against you, and I'm not going to say anything about character motivation, but like you don't got anything to worry from me.
I know.
It's just, the stabbing the shadow dude. That's what you have to worry about for me.
Yeah.
Sorry for that.
Well,
Oh.
As much as I was, and it was a deception when I was like, it's a setback for Martel. It was actually really good. It helps convince, A, the Hammer that we're not against them. That was really good. And B, the Shadeseeker, that there's tension in the group, which would happen with Martel's plan. So,
yeah,
it was actually an extremely good moment.
Yeah.
You did great. You were right in character. It was actually really good for my schemes. It was a great moment.
Good.
Yeah. All you have to worry about for me is a nice feelings talk after this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Martel's still getting at that talk.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She got it from Lhasa, now she's getting it from you. Don't have to trick the people that you can trust. I know. But I actually also look forward to that talk. I love
I-
in-character conversations.
Listen, I've got some good lines saved up.
Good.
Sorry, I totally wasn't distracted by my wife supplying apple cherry pie to me.
Jealous.
I don't know. If anybody was offering apple cherry pie to me, I'd be like, guys, I'm gone until this is done. This is sorted.
I'm gonna take bites in between, mischief that's gonna be happening soon.
Okay, we got to see Daisy, so it's all good.
Nice. Yeah, she got out today. We yeah, we had to leave early for an eye appointment, and we have a rental car because Kayla's car is in for servicing right now, and it's going to take longer than they expected.
Right.
So we had a rental for today, the earlier part of the morning, and we couldn't take her in the car because there was a no pets allowance thing. So we left her here. We opened up the back door. First time we're ever going to leave her here for for a period of time by herself, right? And she apparently found a way out of our backyard, which didn't surprise me, but it was where she found it that surprised me. We have a rock wall on one side of our yard, right? And a large fence that frames that separates our neighbors above us, above that rock wall, right? It's a platform. And they're above there, so there's a fence that separates our yards. Well, Daisy climbed up on top of the rock wall, and it's like, I don't know, 6-7 feet tall. She found a way up, and then on the gate side of our house, there's a tiny little triangular gap between the post and where the fence boards begin, where just because of the shape of the rock, there's a gap. Well, she managed to, we presume, to have wiggled her way through it like a noodle and got out.
That's impressive.
It actually is very impressive. Like, if you could actually see Daisy's shape and size and see the hole, you'd be like, I don't know how you did that. But she did. But she was okay. Her friendo dog was outside, so she went to there first. And then our neighborhood's actually pretty receptive about dogs getting out. It happens occasionally. And so people found Daisy very quickly, and then our neighbors wrangled her for us. So it worked out in the end. Anyway, I spent the whole time talking about Daisy and not eating pie, so we're just going to start playing the game again. Because I heard a Kyle, so I'm assuming everyone's back.
Think so.
Kyle. I can feel your jealousy for my pie. Are you still there? Kyle, you muted?
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect. I knew he was muted. Okay. Time passes, roughly about 10 minutes or so. I guess a little more than that. The trek back is, roughly the same distance. But returns, Lhasa duplicate in place. A very convincing Lhasa duplicate is in place.
Yay.
And then
18 is the spell save DC. Sorry, just making sure.
Okay. Who all are you trying to pull over on this? Or is it literally just everybody who sees it?
Technically everybody who sees it has to make a save.
Oh boy, I love rolling saving throws.
Just the way the spell works.
Yep. In which case
that'll include Tajira and
Hasvard.
Hasvard.
Does
Because
Lithian?
it doesn't say anywhere that I can select people who are not. I assume that being part of the dance makes you immune to the effects of the dance.
Agreed.
I guess that's a DM call.
I know, I'd agree with that.
But yeah, I don't think it says anywhere that I can choose people to be affected by its.
I rolled a nat 1 anyway.
What's the roll?
Intelligence 18.
Intelligence
Yeah,
saving
no.
throw.
Nope.
Okay.
Nowhere close.
Then you believe it to be real, Lhasa.
I don't believe it's real loss, but I can't say it's not.
Pretty much.
You and a handful of other people in this group.
And then he swears, and everyone's like, hmm.
No one is. None of y'all know his habits well enough. You don't know him well enough that he doesn't swear.
Fine.
Only the hammer does.
As people that.
Yeah, you guys have been together for like less than 2 days. Yeah. And you stroke your beard.
That'd be a disaster.
I say these
everything
things so you
Martel's
know what I'm
been-
thinking, not so that it's like
Yeah,
a
no,
physical action. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully, you do recognize that Martel is the source of this. Play along. But
Well, yeah, I
that's
mean,
for you to come up
something
with.
is weird.
Yeah, something's odd. Fake Lhasa came with real Martel and real Lithian.
Yeah, where is the real Lhasa? That is the $1,000,000 question.
Oh my gosh, did the handmaiden disappear too?
No, she's not.
I know, I'm kidding.
That's actually kind of the running joke I've purposely been doing. I don't know if anyone's noticed. I purposely exclude her in the narrative almost every time because the assumption is she's always 60 feet, at least 60 feet away from Martel. So if anyone ever asks, that's exactly where she is.
Weird
Yeah,
if this was just an elaborate scheme to kill the handmaiden out in the snow.
that would have been impressive.
Leave her there dead.
Oh, speaking of which. Martel, it becomes very clear to you after kind of setting in with fake Lhasa that there are a small selective group of people who, just by their eyes alone, you can tell that they have observed something is off.
All right.
But many remain blissfully unaware. I do have one thing that I have to ask you about, given that you control the illusion.
Yes.
When Lhasa returns and Fodder offers him his weapon back, what do you have fake Lhasa do?
Oh man. Jeez. I think it would be too suspicious to not have Lhasa take it. So fake Lhasa would take it back.
Now let me spend an hour rereading the spell.
Well, I mean, unless it can't, and Martel knows that.
So yeah, it's tricky because it talks about how it holds up to physical inspection. So it means you can poke it and it's like, ah, yes, this is solid mass. I don't know if that includes carrying things, though. Like, things that aren't part of the illusion itself.
Yeah. That's just something you're gonna have to make a call on.
I will stand with that. It cannot physically alter or manipulate things that aren't part of its illusory form.
Then, when he offers the hammer back, fake Lhasa will Sorry. Give me a second to think.
The scheming ended with the death.
It didn't. I just didn't. I honestly didn't think Lhasa would give up the hammer for the talk.
That's fair.
But
Fair.
I guess I should have thought about it.
Yeah, in his defense, given he has a bit of a foresight ability, this was his precautionary measure.
Totally makes sense. I just didn't think about it.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
I get to eat pie. It's great.
Didn't bring enough for the class.
Actually, I have enough for the class. You guys just can't get it.
I think. I mean, it's earlier than Martel than I said she would want him to do it, but I think at that point is when Lhasa would swear and just like he would just swear and be like, "Oh, that thing's heavy. Can you carry it for a bit longer?"
Right.
Feels nice to be free of it for a little bit.
Wow. That was a hell of a time for that high of an insight check. Okay. Fodder plays it off surprisingly well.
Hooray!
And kind of leans into the... right, I had forgotten about the old battle injury. It's probably flaring up in all of the cold. I can carry it for you for a time longer.
Fake Lawson nods in gratitude. And from that point on, we'll kind of occasionally massage an imagined spot of where an injury might be. Roll his shoulder out a bit.
But from that moment onward, you proceed to get a subtle side eye from Fodder. You, Lithian, and the handmaiden. And again, he's despite what you know about them, he's doing it pretty well on the down low.
But
it's only whenever there's a reasonable chance for you guys to sort of cross eye contact that he does it. He's not like shoulder checking every once in a while and just going, you.
Good. Yeah.
And then the light blue ribbon goes in your hair?
And then the light blue ribbon goes in my hair.
Okay, fun. Well, let's see how this goes off, yeah? We're gonna just go find the appropriate spell. There it is. Because this is going to be very important, I need to figure out exactly where everyone is in the marching order. And distances will be important.
Okay.
Considering
Given that
everything, go ahead.
Sorry, it's just given that I don't actually think I can see or hear through fake Lhasa, Martel would have to be up with the hammer.
Fair.
That she can kind of continue to gauge what's going on. But again, she's been trying to make that not suspicious as she's been traveling, kind of weaving in and out of groups and being around. But yeah, she's never too far from fake Lhasa because it's still pretty bad visibility and probably pretty bad hearing.
That's
So
fair.
I have a question, because you put the Festal Flamenco into the chat, and it says that you can see through its eyes, hear what it would hear, and move it by expending your own movement.
Oh, well then in that case...
Well, then never mind.
Also makes a weird... Martel kind of wanders off and stands there for a little bit while Lhasa moves ahead, and Lhasa has to stop and massage out an injury while Martel moves up.
Or you use a bonus or an action to dash, and one of you use half of your movement, the other one uses half your movement.
That's fair.
Yeah, the nuance is not that important, to be honest with you.
All right, thank you. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, I don't care that much.
And yes, if I can see and hear through it, then Martel is continuing her sort of meandering around. I know you said it's really important for marching order, so let's put her here.
Okay, so basically between the Shade Seeker and the hammer.
Yes, between the Shade Seeker and the hammer.
Okay.
So Shade Seeker can see when the signal happens, and Martel kind of meanders around in that space.
Okay. The rest of you?
I will be with Gamir again, like normal.
Or you can be next to him.
I'll be back with Snow.
Okay.
Jira will be.
All right. Well, what proceeds to happen is, as you are now traversing along, you're walking through so there are these just staggeringly tall mountains of obsidian, made of the same substance that you observed on the walk up, except now just gigantic and jagged, and still with a subtle lean towards the south. You are moving through what is a small pass. It's about 25 feet across at any point. And it's kind of riveted as you go along. And it seems round, and the edges of the obsidian here are smoothed, but not sharp. Like, you could roll a marble in one direction, and it would, like, perpetually keep rolling in around and around in the rivet, kind of like a screw. Yet again, belaying that something unusual happened here at some point. While you are traversing, you begin to feel the ground underneath you begin to violently vibrate. Shards of obsidian begin falling down from the sides of this path you are walking down, snow falling in clumps. And you begin to hear what sounds like shattering glass, as a rift between the Shadeseekers group and the Hammer begins to just crack open, and it rapidly rushes down the middle, growing and expanding wildly in the center, which is almost dead mass of where the Hammer's group is. This is important. I need... Well, so the Hammer is hard stuck on this. Martel and the Handmaiden, I need you both to make a dexterity saving throw at advantage.
Okay.
You are just kind of on the tip of where this occurrence is happening. And on the southern side, I need Lithian and Hazard, likewise, to make dexterity saves at advantage, because you were kind of on the other end of it, with the Hammer dead center.
I think I'm
Funny how this is how we met these folks.
Funny how that works out, huh?
You said dex save, right?
I did.
28.
22 from Martel.
Very nice.
Please. Why can't I do the math?
Give me the numbers. I'll do the math for you.
I don't know. My brain wasn't working. It was a nat 20,
Oh.
22.
Okay,
I just
so
couldn't-
you're fine.
My brain just was not functioning with me for a minute there.
True, fair. Like one of those 2 + 2 = fish moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel it happens. You do enough basic math, and suddenly it stops being basic math, and it's like just quantum physics level calculus. And you're like, what's going on? Okay. Well, you all rolled phenomenally. Good job. You all succeed. Hooray. You manage to quickly and nimbly escape this rapidly expanding chasm that is being torn between the two groups, with the Hammer in the middle. However, the Hammer are all not as fortunate as you watch as it expands and as they begin rapidly moving to try to avoid this cataclysm that is unfolding beneath them. It just opens up at this huge, just gaping maw of jagged obsidian that few, just in time, manage to take weapons and jab and just shatter them into the obsidian and hold themselves dangling. Boots digging into the sides of these walls that they now cling to for life. And
Immediately start tying ropes to the obsidian towers nearby, because I'm guessing there still are some.
I'll just tell you, I'll tell you this because you're a smart boy. Obsidian is incredibly sharp. You tie a rope to it, the moment you put pressure on it, it's going to saw its way straight through.
Valid.
Yeah.
Chain.
Doable. Still slippery, but doable.
Mm-hmm.
That is to say, you see at pretty much every point, only one member of the Hammer has succeeded to not actually fall into the chasm, and that's now. Who, like all the others, removed a weapon from her belt and then basically leapt and jabbed it into the obsidian and is actually about 10 feet higher above the chasm than where you guys were walking. And then in preceding order, on the left side below now, just below the chasm, almost at ground level, but still hanging on by having cleft a battle axe into the wall, is Nazor. And then on the right side is Gamir, who is about 15 feet down. And then 30 feet down is Fodder, who has the tail end of the shaft of the hammer that he was carrying for Lhasa just dug into it, and he's holding himself using the leverage of it that's built for him to hold himself in place. Lhasa, however, plummets.
Can I have time to do a reaction?
You have a reaction to use, yeah.
I don't know if I can
Again,
beat
there
up
are
the spell with a
let's say,
sorcery point.
There are ranges. Depends upon the meta magic in the spell in question.
So the meta magic would be, sorry, just have to look at it. Quickened to do a bonus. I guess it's not a reaction.
Well, yeah, it would just turn a reaction into a bonus action spell, which I don't think it allows you to do because it requires it to be an action to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Don't really get much quicker than a reaction.
Nope. But if she sees people plummeting, she's gonna try to cast a spell. Is that gonna
If
take
the spell
too much time?
if the spell is a reaction, it can be done immediately. If it is not, we are going to enter into a turn order, but things will have unfolded by a certain point by then.
Yep. Okay. Not a reaction.
Okay. The fissure ceases to grow. It is roughly 150 feet long, and at its widest point, about 45 feet across. It carved into this pathway you are walking between, and falls partway into shadows, which is just almost impossible darkness to see with almost no overhead light and all this being black obsidian. The members of the Hammer that are visible have kind of anchored themselves in the place and are kind of very obviously looking between one another for communication as to what to do next. But they are taking a moment to plan since they all feel confident about where they're currently hanging out at the very least. Granted, this is all happening very rapidly, like 6 seconds, quick. But let's see. In order of the way people would have known something was coming, so we're just going to ask, the Shadeseeker is not doing anything. He's already done his part. Martel, do you or the Handmaiden want to do anything? Or Lithian as well? Given you guys kind of had an idea something was coming.
Yes. Martel will rush to... I mean, she's got to keep up appearances. If she can, she'll head to where... I've immediately forgotten the name again. The one holding the hammer.
Fodder.
Fodder, thank you. Sorry. To Fodder. Is Fodder more than like 30 feet away from me?
He is... Because you were at the tip of the spell?
Yeah.
You're approximately 80 feet away, and then he is about 30 feet down.
Okay. Yeah. Then she'll go to somebody before that 80 feet, one of the hammer before that. Somebody preferably at 30 feet, so she can still use an action.
Right or left?
In the direction of Potter.
Okay, Gamir.
Gamir, here we go. Martel, go to Gamir. And say, this will hurt, but it will bring you closer. How far down is Gamir?
15 feet?
15 feet, that's good. Martel is going to grab her rose and do this. It's a thing she can do because of her rose. So I need to make the melee spell attack.
Mm-hmm.
And then If it hits, I mean, it'll do some damage, but it'll pull him 10 feet closer to me. Does an 18 hit?
Unfortunately, no.
Dang it, I knew they were too heavily armored.
Yes, they're very heavily armored. But given the circumstances, this is not a combat. He's not actively defending himself.
Okay.
This is an allowance to hit. You're basically running up and going, I'm going to help you. In which case, well, the guy who is carrying most of the gear doesn't want to fall to his death, so he's going to accept the help, even though it might sting a little.
All right, 3d6. It's 7 damage.
Okay. He takes it, doesn't make a noise.
But he'll be pulled 10 feet closer.
All right.
Martel is pretty confident she doesn't have the strength to hang on to the ledge.
No, Gamir is
and pull him up.
Yeah, he's the biggest and heaviest of the boys.
Yeah, exactly. But she's hoping he's close enough now to be able to make some efforts of his own.
Yes. So when you use the Thorn Whip and you kind of rapidly sort of reel him up using the spinning momentum of your dance, he takes a moment and reaches out with his free hand and grabs onto the edge of the cliff. And you watch as his gauntleted hand digs and breaks into the obsidian where he's just hard anchored himself. And with an impressive feat of strength, given his size and bulk, along with everything he's carrying, he pulls himself straight up on one arm.
Oh, man. He lifts.
Oh, yeah, he lifts.
If Martel has any movement, she'll move the remainder of her movement. But if not, that's all she can do.
Yeah, you were pretty much on the edge.
Okay.
You used all your movement.
All right.
Lathan will start throwing down chains.
Okay. How long of a length of chain do you have access to currently?
If I remember correctly, I stole one of them from them when we went across the thing, and I don't remember how long that chain is.
They carry chains in increments of 50 feet because when they need one longer, they can put them together.
Okay, then 50 feet.
Okay. Who are you interested in helping? The one most in danger is, well, rather, let me rephrase it. The one that is furthest down is Fodder, and he's pretty much dead center. He's the furthest away from everybody. And then on the left side, you have Nazor, and Now, who's actually above him. Now is actually probably in a perfect position to just actually save herself.
I will go for Fodder then.
Okay. Well, you've got a lot of movement speed. Are you just trying to like lasso the chain towards him so he can get on, hold on to it, or do you want to get above him?
I'm not seeing the difference in what you're saying.
Are you getting... Well, so to get above him, you have to do a little bit of traversing up a slippery slope. Because Martel and the Handmaiden were at pretty much... So imagine a 150-foot line.
Okay.
Martel and the Handmaiden were on one end. You and Hazvard were on the other. And then the Hammer were basically dead center. So in order to close distance, to actually get to him, because they were more or less nearer to the center, you have to close the distance first in order to try to help him. So it's either, do you move your normal movement to get to him and then kind of throw the chain to him, hoping he can get it? Or do you spend some effort to try to get above him directly so you can lower it down? One has direct risks to you. The other one is safer, but not as reliable, which is basically throwing the chain at him.
I will take the riskier one.
Okay. Well, I feel like this is a silly question, but do you want to make an athletics or an acrobatics check?
Well,
I wonder what the barbarian will do.
Maybe athletics.
Maybe. Okay.
Maybe.
All right. It feels like the more risky option, but all right, go for it.
Does a 27 work?
That's pretty good. I think it'll work. You basically kind of like watching and seeing what Gamir did. You just, with just brute force, kind of stomp your way through the obsidian. And while other people might have the risk of, oh man, this might shred my feet and ankles and calves into just a bloody mess, you do, and you feel cuts, but then your natural regeneration just completely disregards any of this as an issue. This is where being a lichen is incredibly useful, as it has been recently a lot in this particular kind of dangerous area.
Yay.
And you do manage to get above him with a pretty quickened pace to lower the chain down. And we'll see if Fodder can pull himself up. These are all pretty strong boys and girls, so it's not that big an issue, usually. I mean, it's not a great number, because he rolled a natural 2, but with his bonus, hang on. I have like 500,000 stat blocks up right now, so pardon me. And some of which I don't even have open because I'm still reorganizing things from moving hard drives to new computers. I'm on my new computer, by the way. It's very exciting.
Yay. Cool.
It is actually really nice. Oh no, I forgot where the thing is. Where did I put my stat blocks? There you are. Okay. Folder. There you are. No, don't open up in that. Open up in something simpler and faster, like Notepad, please. Okay, that's a big number. All right. Okay, so he rolled a 2, but he gets a 13. He begins making his way up. He doesn't get to the very tippy top, but he gets about halfway up. Because he's basically climbing kind of with one hand, trying to hold onto this very long-handled, large hammer of Losses.
Cool.
As you guys are, committing to these rescue efforts, you do kind of notice Gamir, who, again, still fully armored, covered in all these packs, is basically now on his hands and knees, and he's just leaning over the crevice looking down below. And you just hear him going, Lhasa! Lhasa! Trying and hoping that there's some sort of a response. Has veered.
Yay! There's one more person that's down there that doesn't have anyone helping them?
Technically 2 people, but one of them is more or less safe, which is now. Nazor is currently still down there.
I don't have chains. I can't be helpful. Run over to Gamir. Do you have chains?
Honestly,
your friends are still over the cliff.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ask you to make a persuasion check.
Oh, sure.
He's very distracted.
Does a 19 work? I rolled a 6.
Are you proficient in persuasion checks?
Yeah. Oh, does a 23 work?
There you go.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Everybody gets one. Yeah, there's a moment where he's kind of staring down, and it almost seems like he doesn't hear you. And then a second or two later, he just sort of snaps out of it and looks at you. Yeah. And he reaches around onto one of the various pouches, and he just opens up one of them and just begins unfurling a chain like a magician pulling scarves out of their pocket, and kind of hands you one end. Then after a certain length, after about roughly 50 feet, it'll pop loose.
And I go and tie it around an obsidian so I can toss it over someone else if that's possible.
Tricky. Make me a sleight of hand strength check.
Sleight of hand strength check?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. We're gonna get weird.
Minus it by...
So you're proficient, so you're gonna add +5, and your strength of 2, so you're gonna add a +7. Oh, but you're also
That's the first thing. That's what I'm saying. It's just minus by 3, so it's a 17.
Okay. All right. You managed to find a jagged enough piece of obsidian that you can reliably secure this around, but it's not like tying a rope around a tree. It doesn't really find grip or purchase on it. It's just the sheer fact of gravity holding the chain in place. It is one of those situations where if too much weight is placed on it, it could just snap the obsidian. But you know that. But something is better than nothing.
Yeah. It will help, hopefully.
Hopefully. Unfortunately, given distances and movement and preparation, that's all the time you have. You cannot just chuck it to Nazor this turn.
Yeah.
Which means it brings us to the Tabaxi, bringing up the rear. Let's see, Tajira, do you have anything planned?
She does. How large is the crack?
From
How far across?
Far across, at its widest point, 45 feet. It is about 150 feet long.
Okay, so she is going to use a sorcery point. Sorry, just ticking that off. To use distance spell, and she's going to cast telekinesis.
Okay.
Let me just post that in chat for you.
Yeah. This one's actually important, because I might have to stop you, because there are weight limitations for telekinesis.
Okay.
And some of these people are very heavy boys. I just need to make sure
smaller
that,
creature.
like, you would know if you could do it.
You can try to move a huge or smaller creature.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then the object has a reference of about 1,000 pounds. Okay, no, you're fine. You're fine. Regardless, Gamir, maybe. Everyone else, you're definitely confident you could lift.
Well, who looks like they're in the most trouble? Because it looks like I think 3 of them had purchase.
It's just Nazor who is in the worst situation. I mean, Lhasa, absolutely Lhasa. We're trying not to play off of the fact that people as players know he's an illusion and has fallen to his death.
Mm-hmm.
In character, most of you don't know that. And Lhasa, but the problem is, gravity and all that. By the time you guys were acting, he was 500 feet down the hole.
Yeah.
So tricky. That being said, Nazor is your best target.
Okay.
He's currently still down in the crevice with a battle axe holding him in place, with his boots dug in.
Alright, so she's gonna mutter a few words. We do the little roll thingy. And tentacles spring out instead of her arms and start waving around as she concentrates. It is a contest, but like you said, it was an assistance.
Yeah. They're willingly accepting help, so there's no contest.
Yep. So she lifts him 30 feet up.
Oh. But Nazor, surprised, will be levitated through the air.
I have got you.
What side of the chasm are you going to place him on? Basically, your side or the Shadeseeker side is the question.
The far side, that's why the extended spell.
Gotcha. All right. He will land on Martel's side. We will stay nearer to the Handmaiden.
Okay.
If you wait, I can bring all of you up without danger.
Yeah, so the immediate threat is kind of cleared, so we're going to move away from this tighter initiative kind of thing we were running. At this particular point, Gamir is safe. Fodder is about halfway up. Now it's just kind of over the cliff edge, but with enough time could safely get to either side. But Tajira, with your help and telekinesis, you could easily move everyone to safety.
Which she does. Ruling then, I've read that you can use this like a fly spell.
Yeah, you can carry yourself.
Yeah. So also, I guess she doesn't. The chasm. She's not sure about the sides being stable, so she's just going to levitate herself over and offer the same to Snow, who is with her, I believe.
Snow actually declines.
Very
Yeah. No hard feelings. It just I think it's time for me to go. This is probably well, safe travels.
Yes. Thank you for your help.
And just kind of looks at everyone as they're kind of figuring out what they're doing, and Snow just kind of unceremoniously, during the chaos, kind of slinks her way out.
Good old Irish goodbye.
As everyone else is kind of safely placed down, Gamir goes straight over to you, Tajira. Again, this big, hulking, round-bellied Goliath, covered head to toe in this arcane plate mail, like bends down at the knees and puts his gauntleted hands onto either side of your shoulders, making you feel very small. And then just goes, "Can you save Lhasa? What else can you do? Can you go down there?"
He can only reach so far. And how did she see the bottom? Like,
No.
is there a bottom?
There is no discernible bottom.
I cannot hold this for long enough or go far enough down.
If you have a rope that's long enough, you can lower me, but
The risk is the same as the rope. It will probably snap.
We don't have time for any of this. I'm gonna jump.
don't do that.
The longer we wait, the more likely he is to die. And then you just kind of watch as like Gamir begins taking off the straps for his packs. Fodder kind of comes up and grabs him by the shoulder. And he goes, "Calm now, brother. Everything will be fine. Lhasa has survived worse. Give him time."
Tajira will it be considered a help for persuasion?
Yeah, if that's your interest.
Yes, she'll help with that. And if you want me to make a roll, I will.
No, I will take the help action. Again, good numbers. You can tell Fodder is kind of struggling against Gamir's immense strength. It's been proven time and time again that Gamir is the strongest of the group. But it's never been more so obvious now when he is still literally in the middle of like shedding equipment to get ready to go. When after what is just kind of what eventually started off as very soft and gentle from Fodder of just like, wait, give it time. It'll be fine. And then eventually he just kind of stops and with Lhassa's hammer kind of moves around and manipulates it in front of him and plants it directly in front of Gamir and then leans it against his chest. He goes, "Brother, stop. This is not the way. We must make it to the forge. If Lhasa has survived, he will catch up. He is the strongest of us. He will have the power to join us if that is his destiny." And there's just like a hard stare off between the two. And it's kind of painful to watch as you observe there's just a hard stare down between the two. And then you see the physical capitulation in Gamir's body language. It's so raw and emotional that somebody with a passive insight score of 10 notices it. It's so just open and honest. It hurts to watch.
Yeah. Bartel, as this is happening, like as it's kind of wrapping up, will go and approach Gamir. Just say, I know this may not be much comfort coming from me, but when I took Lhasa off to the side, he told me this would happen. And he told me to make sure that you carry on. And he mentioned you, Gamir, by name. He knew you would have the hardest time. But he wanted you to keep going to the forge. I cannot say if he thought he would live or not from the fall. I just know he wanted you to carry on.
Hazard begins singing. Dude, too soon. Martel, make a persuasion check.
Persuasion check.
Sing with the help action. Just kidding.
Not really needed, but appreciated. 32.
I, for some odd reason, knew that was the exact number. I don't know why, but I did.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, It's gonna be a 32. I know it. And I was right.
Channeling Lhasa right there.
I feel it. It takes a moment as everyone is kind of sitting there around the edge of this large chasm that has opened up. The Shadeseeker and his acolytes have stood off to the far front, doing nothing this whole time. And then, with Fodder, Gamir, and you, Martel, in a small, huddled group, Gamir just sort of hears you. He acknowledges you as he makes eye contact with you, and then silently begins collecting his gear and packs again and putting them on. And wordlessly begins marching forward to get away from this. Fodder just gives you a look. It's, you know what, make an insight check. It's so layered.
Okay. Insight check. Oh, surprisingly good for Martel. An 18.
Wow, that is surprisingly good. Fodder gives you a look that is laced with uncertainty, confusion, but also an affirmation that it's fine. Rather, he's going to be fine. Press on. So while he is completely out of the loop as to what's happening, he seems to be the anchor point for knowing something is going on and trying to make sure that it keeps moving.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's about as much as Martel's gonna get from anybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So she'll, kind of wordlessly move on as the Goliaths are all safe, more or less.
Yeah. The worst that anyone suffered was a little bit of scraping from some thorns. That was about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is a tense silence that carries on. It is very clear that while at the very least Fodder seems to know something is up, there is now a very obvious and reasonable heaviness that has settled onto the hammer. And as the group collectively begins moving forward, separating into their own little cliques, there is an odd sound everyone begins to hear. It sounds like there's a wind cutting through this pathway you're walking through. And then eventually it actually kind of lowers. And it takes a while for people to realize, but there is now a low humming sound that is coming from the remaining members of the Hammer. And it sounds like they're sort of wordlessly humming a dirge as they continue to do this march in honor of what they assume to be another lost member. It is unusual in that there is no speech, there's no lyrics. There is just this deep, resonating, almost like vibrating growl that they kind of sing with. And inside of their plate mail, it carries with it this metallic tinge. It's weirdly haunting. But at the same time, because the Hammer have done nothing but wear their emotions on their sleeve, it is very powerful to listen to. Allow me to remove Lhasa from the board.
Oh, that was more painful than I expected.
And shrink the board down to 4.
Yes.
That's a beautiful song. That alone that made me buy the soundtrack like right after that movie.
It is super good. Super good.
Apologies to people watching. I said in our separate chat that I was imagining the song that the dwarves hum in The Hobbit. It's what people are now talking about.
Yes.
Now it's stuck in my head.
Perfect.
But yeah, that one's it's never easy. Pretending to kill somebody.
And in spite of the loss, the group presses on. Fodder now leading at the smaller gathering of the members of the Hammer of Amaron. The Shadeseeker and his acolytes, and the child that he keeps with him leading the way, confidently striding, seeming completely unfazed by the events that have transpired. And it was very obvious and clear to everyone involved that they did not move or lift a finger to participate in the rescue of the members of the Hammer. Silence encompasses everything. There is a subtle wind that blows overhead, but you are provided mostly sanctuary from the dying snowstorm. It is after about 2 hours of moving through this rough terrain obsidian pass that it abruptly stops and opens into a small valley that seems to be carved in the middle of this entryway. And before you, you see hills of snow, large pieces of rock that are not darkened like the rest of the terrain here. And indistinguishable, and for the first time in some time, large, perfectly smooth, gray stone pillars that pulse and glow with arcane runes. For anyone proficient in the giant language, you know the rune type set here is giant based. If you are unfamiliar but would like to know, you can make an Arcana check.
I'm gonna try. And get a 3.
I got a 13. 14.
Giant based.
15?
Not
15.
giant.
12, I get a +3 to 15. Math.
15.
Man, what kind of check was it?
Arcana.
Arcana. I just keep double checking the number because I can't believe this keeps happening. A 22.
That's a very good number. Which is to say, Martel and Hasvard, you are aware upon seeing these. First of all, these pillars are about 75 feet tall and about 10 feet in diameter. They're very big. And along their length of the smooth stone, you can see these glowing light blue runes. And at their bases, which are multi-tiered, around all of the bottom and the very top, which are slightly wider, are also ringed in these glowing blue runes. And they glow very dimly and kind of pulse. You know they are both based in giant magic. This valley, you can't quite see the whole of it. It continues on for some distance. But there is a large raised summit in the middle. About 150 feet or so tall. And you know, why guess? We're gonna and about 300 or so feet across. And allow me to murder the Hasvard clone. And then we're just gonna back all y'all up to the edge of the map real fast. Okay, can everyone see everything?
Yeah.
I can see everything.
Pillar.
Not see everything, but I can see what my sightlines would allow.
Evil people.
Can you see on the map?
Yes.
Perfect.
Kind of. Yeah.
Actually, Lithian, your vision looks incorrect.
Oh, is this new Hasvard?
No, it's just because it's cold.
It's
So
super old Hasvard. He just never used it. Oh, I did that wrong.
Oh, all right.
It's because we're in a cold zone. It doesn't make sense for me to be in the character that has like very little clothing on.
Cool.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, Lithian has hard
Fancy.
lines of sight.
Yay, dark vision.
Yeah, no, that's faded nonsense. Just like I accidentally mistaked Tajura too. I forgot for some odd reason thought Tabaxis have dark vision, but you do. That's better.
It makes sense for them to have it, but
Thank you. I can see. That's some interesting music.
Better be. All right, Hasward, make me a stealth check just so I can mark that down.
30.
Nice. Just don't use all of your good luck now.
I know.
also based on counting acolytes here, I take it the two who were stone are back.
Yes, they are actually.
Yes. All right.
They wove their way back in at some point.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
I love the way you phrase that.
You arrive in this wide open valley carved out in the middle of this obsidian expanse. There are 9 of these pillars that are perfectly aligned and stand perfectly straight, as if unmoved by the test of time or the terrain that seems to have shifted violently all around them. Snow has gathered heavily here. And off in the distance, you see this large, raised mountain. I guess it's not large. It's a raised plateau. As I said earlier, it's about 300 feet across, about 150 feet or so high. It's multi-tiered and ridged. One could climb from the bottom to the very top of it easily. It is flat at the top. But you stop, and the Shadeseeker turns around and kind of looks at everybody, and when he wants to unnerve you, he smiles.
I believe we have arrived. Should we lay some bait for whatever awaits us? See what bites?
Well, if it is a dragon, the cult around it, I'd hate to just walk into their territory. Maybe bait is the best choice.
Yeah, waits a polite beat to see if anyone has suggestions. And if Martel is the only one that speaks up, he kind of unceremoniously turns, and with one of his arms, which extends unnaturally long, and then with the back of his hand, he sort of shoos one of the acolytes forward.
Go on now. Be a good piece of bait.
And emotionless, one of the acolytes will begin marching forward. And continues to do so. And then is at this point you watch as an invisible wave kind of ripples through the valley. And it is more noticeable as the wave washes over the valley, each of the pillars suddenly glow very brightly. Starting from the bottom, reaching to the very top. And then you watch as a bolt of pure magical energy leaps from one pillar to the next, until it reaches the one in the center. And then it leaps out towards the acolyte. Pardon me. I did not grab my hilarious assortment of wild magic effects. Give me a second.
Oh boy.
I'm not done with this yet. We have more. As this bolt of arcane energy lances out, it curls and crackles and ripples, and then lands right on top of the acolyte, where the acolyte just in a blink isn't there anymore. There's no remnants of where the magic struck, just footprints, and then nothing.
Looks around at everybody and says, "Well, that's a bad sign."
Indeed.
Any other volunteers?
And almost as if summoning a change in what will most certainly be an unusual and a probably futile act. The few beams of sunlight you're getting through the clouds are abruptly blotted out, and a large wind carries through the valley. And then you hear the sound of Arctic winds wrestling over metal. Wings beating heavily and landing on a stone that ripples and shakes the ground beneath you. You see an enormous dragon. For many of you, the first you've probably ever seen. It's immediately noticeable that it is covered from head to toe in beautifully crafted armor. The color and make of the metal looks largely unknown to many of you, but it is very obvious beneath this armor are scales of gold. A protectorate dragon. Along the length of its armor, you see many runes of the giant persuasion of which Martell and Hasbard both recognize, glowing and pulsing with magic. Its eyes, the large glowing embers of luminescent starlight that they are, scan over the group. Wondering, curious. It curls its wings ends on itself. And then it stares down, lowering its head.
And what has brought all of you to this valley? Surely, you would have a greater purpose as to come to a place such as this. Which one of you dares to speak?
Well, let's see if Martell dares to speak.
Let's say, and not missing a beat, the Shadeseeker just sort of turns around and nonchalantly looks over his shoulder like, should I? Anyone else?
I mean, that's all right. That's an all right save. Martell steps forward, although visibly frightened of this monstrosity that sits before her. She says, "We've come seeking the forge."
For what purpose?
Martel just kind of looks at the Goliaths and the Shade Seeker and looks at the dragon. Says, well, I'm not entirely certain of the purpose. These ones want to reclaim it for their beliefs in the giants of old. And Martel does stutter this much as she's going through it.
Fodder steps up to your side. Very boldly proclaiming with the hammer in front of him, just sort of planting it, steps up next to you. I am Fodder of Clan Amaron. Our leader, Lhasa, was a descendant of the original worker of this forge, Voltaire. He was recently lost to us, but this is the Forge Master's hammer, Voltaire's own. We wish to find the forge so that we may help rebuild this world anew and right the wrongs that have been committed. And Fodder stands his ground. It's very, very, very tense. It's obvious, even though the Hammer have proven themselves battle-hardened warriors, this is intimidating no matter what. Except for the Shade Seeker, who's still acting like a confident prick.
Martel does move closer to Fodder, hoping to gain some courage from his own steeled will.
Let's see how steeled it is. Wow, good for you, Fodder. I just did a casual, wisdom check to see, how well he's... Natural 20. Natural 20.
Oh, nice.
The man has a purpose. He is driven. As he is speaking, the other members of the Hammer kind of fall in line behind him. The dragon kind of lowers its head. It's sort of snaking on its long neck. And it is obviously peering at the group in front, the Shade Seeker and his acolytes, and then back to you who are just behind them.
And how does one who claims such a purpose travel with a being such as this?
And it turns its head and stares, and its eyes glow brighter as it makes eye contact with the Shade Seeker. They are not of ours. They have taken lives of our clansmen. They only travel with us because they have anchored themselves to us and this group that is with us. We, the Hammer of Amaron, have sought this forge for years on our own. We would not wish to involve any other people here with us. This trial is ours. And then the Shade Seeker, despite the moment, just kind of raises a hand, just kind of nonchalantly, not like raising it for class, just kind of like, wait a second.
Now, let's not be too hasty. We have traveled here together, with a common cause. And we wish to forge a brighter future together. Now surely this trial they face, we will help buoy them up, strengthen them. And I'm sure whatever it is you ask of us, we will do so together.
Fodder just kind of daggers at him. But it's a quick glare, immediately returning his gaze to the dragon. And then the dragon, who's kind of snaking its head back and forth between those speaking, it turns it back onto the Shadeseeker.
If you wish to participate in this trial, you must separate from the girl and remove your influence from her. And in doing so, I will at least promise a quick and merciful death at the end of this trial.
The Shadeseeker has a moment where he's actually, like, taken aback, like, oh, that's so hurtful. And then he looks over his shoulder at you, Martel. And then just kind of, in the open, in front of everybody, takes one of his shadowy fingers and kind of takes it over his neck, like, now?
And, Tel says, "Oh, are you not separating from the girl?"
Why would I do that? Kind of the, what's the phrase? Ace in the hole? Hmm?
Martel smiles and says, "Then I suppose now." And she looks up at the dragon. We're going.
Just to clarify your intention, where are you going?
Oh, she's just, it's going, we're going. Time
Like-
to fight. Here we go.
Oh, okay. Then the dragon straightens itself. Its runes on the armor, starting from its claws, rippling up its legs, through its chest, up along its neck into its head, glow brightly, turning from the teal coloration to a bright, brilliant gold.
Then your fate has been sealed. Come, face me, and see if you are worthy.
And that is where we're going to roll initiative.
Hey.
Oh, let me clear this real fast before anyone gets... There we go.
Oh, thank God. I rolled low initiative. I don't have to make a decision first.
Like, I had a character question really quick. Isn't the Protectorate Dragons what we're making with the card?
No.
No.
You were trying to make a body for the soul of a dead Protectorate Dragon.
Thank you.
Protectorate Dragons exist still. They just don't exist on this plane of existence because the Protectorate Kings basically send them over to deal with problems as they arise.
What am I doing?
I'm rolling a bunch of
All
initiatives.
flustered from facing a dragon. There we go. Initiative. Thank you.
Nope. Give me a get back here.
Don't. No.
Uh,
I mean, no valid token was selected.
well, we can just...
Oh, you just have to click on your token so that it's highlighted, or whatever.
I can also add you if
Has
that
a
helps.
box around it.
Just say the word.
Roll 20 hates me.
I got
It's
you.
my fault. Roll 20 hates me.
There you go.
Thank you.
Ooh, Nazor bringing up the rear. Handmaiden didn't do great either. Where'd you go? All the people bouncing around the initiative orders. Let me see. Who else do I need to roll for besides all of the Shade Boys? Oh, and I guess I can't forget. Biggins over there. Oh, nice. Nice. That's a solid number to really just ratchet up the tension as to what's going to happen. I like it. I like it.
Uh-oh. No.
Oh, this is great. This is great. This is great. Did the third one make it in? Yes. Now a bunch of the evil boys. The Shade Seeker? Alright, the Shade Seeker did good. Boop, boop. And so did one Acolyte. Oh, and one Acolyte did not do so good. Okay, I just need to check real fast to make sure everyone is... Pardon all the screen jumping that's probably just doing. Everyone's in, everyone's happy. Okay. Does anyone have any issues to report or things that have not been added in?
I don't like our allies.
that I can't help.
Yeah, no, just that Martel's kind of sitting there staring at a dragon and getting ready to pop a potion in her mouth. Not at 100%. This is gonna be ugly.
You and me both. I'm staying back.
I have some
Oh.
drugs.
I suppose mist.
I read through the rest of the list at some point. Maybe not tonight, but the next time we play, I want to roll on it.
Need
I
some
want to know
drugs?
exactly what it had.
Mhm.
I need to know.
Yeah.
For reasons.
Yeah, no, don't worry. We'll figure out your drug stash. I am all on board for that.
What color is Martel's aura right now?
It's a good question.
It's a good color of
Is it
fear.
like a mood ring?
Well, that's kind of how I use the color when I put it on the field, but her mist remains mist colored. It doesn't
fair.
actually
Still.
change color. It's not one of the features it has. Yeah, I mean, let's go with P yellow.
P yellow. Okay. I thought you were like saying a word that started with a P and then changed your mind on the color and went to yellow. No, it's just P yellow.
P your pants yellow.
Gotcha. That's a lovely color.
It's probably close to how she's feeling.
I mean, when you put it like that. All right. Well, first up is going to be this Acolyte, who was just so happy to be first. But on his turn, as the Shadeseeker just kind of casually waves a dismissive hand in the direction of the dragon, the Acolyte runs off, and as he does, you watch as his limbs kind of shape and change a little. Kind of becoming thinner and more agile. And one of its arms distends in this shadowy aura, drawing out one of those large bows that you saw some of them wield earlier. And it runs off in this direction. And we'll fire 2 shadow arrows. And miss with a natural 1 on the first one. And miss with the second one with a natural 1 again.
Oh my god.
Great start. I love it. I love it. But the real kicker, the Shadeseeker and his friend, they are going to... You see a dragon. It's big and scary. What do you do? That is just the million-dollar question in this moment, right?
I mean, holy cow, is it big? Look at this thing.
Oh yeah, he's extra big. Protector, like ancient dragons are big.
Oh no, I know.
They're big. They're big.
Oof.
This is far bigger than normal player's handbook dragon, by the by, or monster manual dragon, several squares larger by normal. Sure. This is a great opening way to see how this is gonna go. So the Shadeseeker and his protege are going to move forward to there. And just like before, you're going to watch his long, thin, claw-like fingers kind of wrap around the shoulder of the girl. And then the girl raises a hand and points at the dragon. And you watch as this dark, streaking beam, almost as thin as a thread, races out, twisting and turning. And it will attempt to strike the dragon. Hang on, I gotta keep track of all the things. 'Cause I have many things. Oh, cool! I get to use one of these real fast. And it starts off with a bang. You watch as this dragon, still perched on this large stone, is digging its claws in, ready to push itself off to gain momentum for its first attack. And you watch as this beam spell flies straight towards it, rapid speed, racing through the air, like a needle on a thread being led magically. And it strikes its armor, but immediately as it gets within proximity, you watch as its armor, the runes, turn from the brilliant gold to a deep, dark red. And they pulse, and there's a visible wave of magical energy, and the beam ricochets and goes straight back at the Shadeseeker and the girl. And you watch in horror as the beam races back towards them in this rapid fire, adrenaline-fueled moment where it is literally only fractions of a second as the spell returns. The Shadeseeker, in the most nonchalant way, just slowly adjusts the girl so it's directly in front of him, and you watch as the spell strikes her, and the right side of her torso and arm disintegrates and crumbles off and falls.
Oh.
The girl does not seem to move or react to it in any way, shape, or form.
Good, great, love it.
The dragon, you hear just this reverberation as you feel something gather up in its chest, and it bellows out.
And you have chosen your fate, Shadeseeker.
And it's staring needles at him. Now kind of has a brief moment of something's happening, but now isn't the time. Will kind of throw her pack into the snow and remove her heavy crossbow from her sling and throw herself up against this rock, and is going to hold her action in her attacks. At the start of this acolyte's turn, it is going to grow to huge proportions. And then with a dash action, get to about there. This one will do the same. Oh, hang on. Has veered.
Has veered is going to do much like Now just did, because he wants to see what the hammer's going to do in this situation. Is there any way to scrabble up the rock or no?
You'd have to make an athletics check.
Cool. No, I scrabble at the rock. Stop. Stay where I am. And I'm like, I'll just wait. Actually, I can bonus action dash and get to the other side of the rock.
You can.
That's what I can do. Because that's still a thing I can do even after failing to scrabble. Okay, cool.
Okay. The handmaid's turn. She's gonna, first of all, makes a quick observation. The dragon's armor seems to be magic resistant. If you're going to affect it, don't attack it directly. It will continue to reflect spells back at you. Let's see. Oh boy. I didn't think I would feel the same amount of pressure as my players when trying to figure out what to do. It's really hard to get out of the headspace of when you're a character that has never encountered a dragon, what do you do?
Cower.
Well, she used her action to give her advice. She is going to do the thing that she is sent here to do. She's going to sidle up to you, Martel, reach out a hand and touch you and cast Death Ward on you.
Okay. Sorry, my voice is starting to fail, so I didn't want to actually scream.
Fair. And likewise, when she does, she just says, just to you, just in a whispered voice. May fortune favor you, princess. And you can take a D12 Bardic Inspiration die.
Thank you. I'll make a note of that.
Okay. And actually, before I get ahead of myself, she's going to take the remainder of her movement to go there. Fodder. He has the hardest choice here, because he's technically now the leader. When in doubt, dice roll. This is not our trial to fight. We wait. Hammer, stand down. And Fodder, not being a fool, is going to actually dash this way to get out of the direct sight of the dragon. Because the one thing everyone knows about dragons is they tend to breathe dangerous things. Tajira.
Keeping that in mind, she is going to dash. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 45, 50. So she's going to get behind this pillar. I'm assuming I can't see the dragon, so is it blocking vision?
He's all the way over yonder. Sorry, I actually made this map. Not sure as to what time of day it would be, but it is in the middle of the day. Have some global illumination.
Yay! So she was here just so that I can see. Okay. Yeah. I'm not gonna change what she did. She's gonna go there. And she's going to just stay there. She can't hide because she's her bonus action dash. So
Okay.
that's her turn.
Martel.
Chase. Well, Martel, just having fallen to her knees, watching the damage to this little girl, is just gonna and that potion she had out, she's gonna just try to feed it to the little girl, do anything to help her. Martel just doesn't know what to do. Seeing half of her disintegrate like that.
Make an athletics check. You basically have to force her to drink it.
Okay. The whole time she's just going, no. It's only a 15.
It is a struggle, and it is difficult. Like, imagine trying to feed something to a child that just doesn't want to eat it. There's no noises to it, but it's just like the mouth trying to avoid the bottle. But eventually, you kind of find the point where you manage to stop her enough, and kind of crack it open. And it's messy and dribbly, but you manage to get enough of the potion in her mouth that it'll matter.
Okay.
So if you want to roll the healing.
Yay! What's the level 2?
2d6 plus the con mod times 2 of the person. So I know how much the back end of the potion is.
Or you know her con mod.
Yeah.
A 5 and a 2. I guess I don't need to give them split. 7 total.
Yep. Okay. There's no obvious effect from the potion. Where the arm was damaged, it literally disintegrated away. All the nerves and the parts of the body there are just dead. It's not even necrotic. It just was almost completely, perfectly, cellularly cut off. But despite it, the girl's still standing. The Shadeseeker, when you do this, just still body and facing towards the dragon, but his head turns at an unnatural angle, and it tilts. And for the first time, his terrible smile turns into a frown.
What is this? Why so worried? This was all part of the plan.
Martel, respond, or have I used up all my time?
No, you got some speech.
Then, with tears in her eyes, she just points at the little girl's arm and says, "This was not the plan."
The Shadeseeker's frown turns into a smile again. Lithian.
Had a plan and then Martel changed. I think. I don't even have enough movement to get to.
Who are you trying to reach?
Martel.
Yeah. The shortest is 45 feet.
Yeah.
Almost.
Almost. What can I do? I can do a lot. Okay, well, I'm still gonna use my full movement towards Del.
Mm-hmm.
And I will dash so I can get up like right next to her.
Okay.
That'll be it.
All right. Gamir has a moment where he's kind of stunned by everything, but then Fodder's words break him out of his stupor. And like many other people, he charges off to the side of the rock, and kind of it almost like just an avalanche of gear. Like, as he's going over there, you just see him immediately pull straps and chains and strings, and all of the pack and gear just sort of just falls off of his body and just kind of hurls it into the snow at the side of the rock. And he readies his great axe. Tajira, you can hear him just basically going underneath his breath. Just give me the word. Just give me the word. And he's waiting. Oh boy, but the turn I've been waiting for. The dragon.
Wow. What shitty initiative for an ancient dragon.
Yeah, he rolled very poorly 3 times.
That does
Very
mean he gets
unfortunately
3
for us,
concentrated turns,
yeah,
though.
Exactly. It's like that means 3 pretty concentrated turns.
Well,
Just
the good
brutal.
news and the bad news of the situation is... I'm gonna need a lot of dexterity saves. Basically, all of the Shadeseekers people, including the Shadeseeker, Lithian and Martel, I need all of you to make dexterity saves. As you watch the magical runes ripple over its body, starting from its tail all the way up its side, legs, up its spine, some of the plates sort of shifting and spinning up, and then it gathers up its neck, its eyes glow brighter, and you watch as the golden scales glow from within like molten metal, and it breathes in and then exhales this huge cone of fire. White as the snow you've been walking in. I have a bunch of bad guys that are just about to eat it.
Oh, 19.
Well, I rolled really well for all the Shadeseekers guys, but they were all just low enough that only 2 of them succeeded.
Martel killed it, but I mean, you got to play your character. She's gonna use her remaining 2 inspiration points to do a heroic save and step in front of the fire for the little girl, not the Shadeseeker, shadowiness, but the little girl.
Okay. So you're going to push her out of the way? Or are you going to,
It says that I step in and take the damage on her behalf, but I have resistance to all damage types.
Right. Okay, so you'll basically take half damage.
Martel is just, literally stepping in front of the girl.
All right.
Honestly, I picture you like hugging her kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
That's super good. Super good.
very much. Thank you. It's a great description, Kyle.
Only here to help, bro.
All right, so the bad news. If you roll below a 20, you failed.
Awesome.
Lithian, no! Are you raging yet?
I forgot.
Oh no!
To be fair, doesn't do anything in this situation.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Oh, okay.
And this is one of those situations I'm just going to use the dice roller. So maybe Roll20 really likes you guys today.
That many dice, huh?
Yeah. Nope, does not like you guys today. Sorry.
I knew it before you even posted.
Oh, that does hurt. Holy cow.
So if you failed, you take 88 points of fire damage. If you succeeded, you'll take half, which is 44.
I'm going to use one of the charges in my brooch to take half of that.
Smart move.
Yeah.
So reminder, that's probably how much the Shadeseeker did with his weird hand thingy.
Speaking of which, Martel, you don't notice it right away because you're so focused on saving the girl. When everything around you is suddenly washed out to white and a heat that is unimaginable. You protect this child, but in the same way, you watch as all this glimmering white gold light surrounds you, burning away at edges of your clothing. You watch as the shadow that she is casting is the Shadeseeker. And he just stands there flickering in the light, smiling at you with that vicious smile as he taunts you for saving him.
Can I kill him now?
Well, your character, Martel's used all of her words.
Shouting over the fire breath, "Can I kill him now?" The good news is, most of the Shadeseeker's people, his acolytes, all look really, really bad. Especially since only 3 of them have transformations, the other 2 didn't, so their stats were unremarkable when they had to make that save. So,
Daisy.
and it's not going to move. It's Daisy! The dragon's going to stay put. He feels like, well, he's made a point. This boy's not happy. He is going to change, and he's going to take the advice of his friendo, and he's going to go and create a shadow bow and promptly begin moving out of what feels like a safer distance than where he was. Because, you know, these guys aren't stupid, despite the fact that they act pretty emotionless. So he's gonna immediately get out of here, and is going to run there. And likewise, I'm just gonna make some markers so I remember who's done what.
Oh man, I didn't notice. Those are such excellent icons.
Yeah.
Ah.
Oh, look, the dragon's turn.
Fun.
Isn't it? The dragon, now having watched, and you see before you just this swath of land that has been carved out by its dragon's breath. The stone melting and molten in places. No evidence of this being an Arctic region has survived. Part of this stone here that many of you are hiding behind is just dripping and falling. And from its perch, it stands up and then leaps. It lands on these 2 shadow acolytes before it. It is going to, first of all, let's get a radius. Cool, everybody. I need everyone to make a wisdom save.
Oh. Oh, fun.
Like the people behind the rock too?
Literally everybody.
Oh wow. It's a large radius.
Yes, it is.
16
Can I-
for Martel.
Can I use 2 points and succeed?
You can if you want to.
Done.
16
Funny.
as well. I rolled well for me.
I guess technically I'm here.
1.
Really hope 20 still succeeds.
Success from
I have no
Father,
confidence in that.
failure from Nazor. Man, a lot of people did really poorly with these. No, we don't like those. That sucks. We're gonna... Nope, doesn't even get her there. That sucks. Alright. So who just dropped this gigantic
me.
red circle? Oh, hooray!
Martel's not scared. She's furious.
Fair. It's just weird because it doesn't look like it's centered on Martel, but I guess it is, huh?
Yeah, it's just because it's gigantic.
Okay, if you roll lower than a 21, you are now frightened as the dragon from its perch extends its body and lets out an ear-piercing roar that shakes the stone and snow beneath your boots. You are frightened of the dragon for 1 minute. You can repeat your saving throw at the end of each of its turns. We'll do the first of its turns each round. So on initiative 8.
Okay.
And then from its roar, it leaps down onto these poor shadow acolytes before it, and is going to go to town on one, the other, and then the other. So it's going to lead in with a bite. There we go. That's saucy. So natural 18. It's gonna hit. It's gonna hit real hard. Ooh. 15 plus. Mm-hmm. Hang on. I forgot. Fire damage. 33, 31, 36. 37 points of damage. Onto the Colossus. Who did not make his dexterity save on the fire breath, by the by. Looking real bad already. You watch as the dragon jumps down, clamps its jaws onto this huge acolyte, and then picks it up with its jaw and throws him, just like a rag doll. And he falls 15 and is pushed 15 feet over here and is knocked prone. Where's the prone button? There we go. And then it raises its claws onto the one that is still nearby. Both of those are going to hit. It's actually kind of silly after a certain point when you have modifiers so large. You're like, oh, I rolled very low. Oh, wait, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
7, 9, 12. Basic math. 28 points of slashing damage from 2 claw attacks. This one manages to hold his ground, however. Nazor, who is thoroughly frightened, is gonna dash and hide up next to Tajira, next to this pillar, and tuck him in as well as he can. I've never seen one of these before. I don't know if I want to. And he's just fumbling with the pack, trying to draw out his sword, just it's honestly a little, it's kind of sad. You feel sorry. The last acolyte is going to continue following his other comrades in arms and is going to grow a bow. He's going to run there and shoot 2 shade arrows. At disadvantage because he's frightened. A natural 3 is not going to hit. And the natural 7 is not going to hit. 2 more shadow arrows go flying out, striking the armor and just ricocheting off into the distance. The dragon really doesn't like this guy. The one directly in front of him. He is going to rear up with its gargantuan size, tower over this acolyte, and stare straight down at him, and you will all watch as the runes glow bright, brilliant gold from the tail to the tip of its head, and it is going to single out this individual with a fire breath attack.
Oh.
Because he recharged it. It's real rough. These guys are not good at this. He fails.
Good.
I see. He will take 77 points of fire damage. And as he does this, as the dragon rears up and just breathes this white hot fire onto him, the dragon's head slowly lowers, and he watches the dark figure that was encased in this white light slowly vanishes beneath the heat of the breath weapon. And eventually when the dragon finishes, there is nothing left but glass underneath him. I'm not even going to cross an X out. He's just gone.
Disintegration.
Although I made a boo-boo. I should have removed him from the initiative order first. The initiative order does not like when you casually remove people like that. The dragon's head turns with his brilliant gold eyes and stares in the direction of the Shadeseeker and those acolytes that stand before him.
You have chosen your path. Now die peacefully.
And it, in one large leap, 1, 2, 3, and then with a push of its wings, lands on this rock here. At the top of the initiative... Who's next in the turn order? Hasvard, roll me a Demon Hunter.
Do we get to make a save again?
It is. It's a 70 on the dot.
The effect for the fear comes up on the dragon's turn on turn 8.
Yes.
Lame. Okay.
Yeah, it is lame, but that's how this be.
I rolled a 70 though.
A 70, you say?
Oh yeah, there's wild magic here.
There is wild magic here. Speaking of wild magic, another invisible wave ripples through the valley like a wind. You watch as all the pillars react, charging from the ground up, and an arcane beam bounces from the leftmost corner to... And I roll a dice. Wow, real funny. To this one.
No!
No. No.
And in a 60-foot radius sphere... You guys make me laugh. A pulse of warm green energy ripples out, and you are all healed for 3d8. Everyone that is in a 60-foot radius, so I'm just going to quickly double check to see who all of that is. So this is, unfortunately, the Shadeseeker and most of his boys. Martel, Lithian, and then now the Handmaiden, Nazor, Gamir, and Tajira, and Hasvard. You all are basically in the radius. Just these 3 NPCs off on the left are excluded. The dragon is included in as well. You receive 15 HP.
There we go.
Wild magic. It can be helpful.
Hooray!
Oh, yay. Someone else roll another 70.
The dragon lands there. It cranes its neck and keenly observes all of you hiding along the edge of the rock, watching as the wild magic ripples. His armor reacts to the wild magic. The color of the runes change to light green, like the magic that was just cast. And its head continues to follow and sneak around, looking at all of those present. But it firmly turns and stops on the Shadeseeker once more. And he lets out this low, rumbling growl that reverberates through the stone, shaking all of you nearby.
This is your last chance to release her, Shade Seeker. Or else you and the insignificant being that you serve will come to an untimely end.
And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Ah!
GG!
And, you know, just because showing off,
Goodness.
the artwork is super great. Just enjoy him.
Such good artwork. Oh man,
I didn't
CJ.
even get you guys to drop. I didn't even get a chance to drop his name yet.
No, it's true, you haven't.
It's so good. And his title, that's the one thing I live for. Dragon Epitaphs, I live for.
I totally didn't want to run over his back and then jump at the Shadeseeker. Totally didn't.
I wouldn't stop you if you did.
Well, unfortunately, I'm feared, so I can't.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, absolute shivers when you did all that, CJ. Real good.
Thank you.
Loved that dragon intro.
He is a terrifying being.
That is the hope. He's an old
I
boy.
I appreciate the movement, so now I can continue with my plan to move Martel out of the fucking way.
Fair.
That's if you can grab her.
I will try. I think if that's contested strength, then I can do that.
Not for
Maybe.
her.
Martel's pretty strong.
Maybe.
People don't know what Martel can do, but she's strong.
And she's good at slipping out of grapples.
Mm-hmm.
It's exceptional at slipping out of grapples.
I learned this from my last character.
Nice try, nerd.
Yeah.
Nice try. I'm just gonna go this way.
Anyway, thanks for hanging out, chat. Love you guys. Mwah.
I would say come back next week to see how the rest of this fight goes, but we won't be playing next week, unfortunately. Because Kara's going to a wedding.
No, but thanks. Yeah,
Oh. Never mind.
the wedding's September.
Oh. I
Something else is happening.
Something else. Not as good. Maybe. I don't know what's happening, clearly.
Just go with
He
the
started us off. Happy birthday week!
Ooh, week of my birthday.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, CJ.
This
Sorry, I
dragon
had
was a
do
gift
that
to
on
myself.
day.
No, but Loki, I worked on him like all week. He's super cool.
Like,
He's
not
wonderful.
Yeah, we'll find out more about him later. Maybe he takes care of your problems. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe you all just get beaten to a pulp. No one knows.
We don't know yet.
We'll find out 2 weeks from now. On the 11th, when we're back. Otherwise, all the regularly scheduled games are occurring as normal. Just a brief reminder, because we had a bit of a schedule shakeup. Orphan Honor is still on Wednesday mornings, bright and early, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, PDT. I still playing a game on Thursdays at 4 p.m. PDT with the lovely Jake Ford and friends over at Crack DM's channel. Friday, which is on a small break next week because of a missing player, and clearly we want everyone to be here for this. And then Moonrise is moved to Saturdays every other week, and I believe we'll be running this upcoming Saturday. I will make sure to tweet out an announcement once I've clarified that is in fact happening. Otherwise, thanks. I have a new computer and a bunch of new setup stuff, and clearly a new camera if you didn't notice. So things are going to start changing a little bit for the better as time goes on. More setup, more stream props, things of that nature. Eventually I'm going to have a new desk and a new setup. I'm going to have a mural behind me. It's going to be great. You can actually see the old one that's on the wall right here. Kayla and I are pretty convinced that people that own the house previous to us were trying to do a Batman thing. And I've contemplated finishing it or just painting over it. I'm probably going to paint over it, though. Yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for playing. I hope you all enjoyed this. Again, dragons are sweet, and I really wanted this to be big and important and super awesome. And we'll see how this plays out later. We will see you next time. And until then, if you can do nothing else, make good choices. Good night, everybody.
Bye.